So yeah, some of the frequently asked questions that I get a lot is if you have two scouts going through the ordeal, can they share items on the packing list? And we already kind of talked about this, but they can share a tent, but everything else, they need their own set of everything. They need their own sleeping bags, their own pillows, their own tarps, and so on. So that's a very important thing that I get asked a lot. And so we just want to make sure that we gave our answer to it. The next one is, where can I find more information about the Ordeal? And what I would recommend to everybody is to find information about the Ordeal through national website or on the Enigma with It Lodge website. If you can't make the May 8th or 10th weekend, the question is, if I can't make the May 8th or 10th weekend, what can I do? And so you're not forced to go to that weekend on May 8th through 10th. But if that is a conflict during that day, then what we recommend for you guys to do is to attend different ordeal weekend close to that weekend, a couple weeks away or a couple weeks earlier. Or we can move you to the fall, and there's a whole set of inductions again in the fall that you can be a part of. And what type of leadership positions are there? So like you said, or like Andy said, he's the vice chief of communication in our chapter. I'm the chapter chief. Matthew does our special operations. He makes some pretty fancy videos, and so many other different things, a more technical sort of person. We also have a vice chief of finance who's in charge of balancing our budget and making sure that I don't spend too much money on my epaulets and my uniform. That was a joke, but we also have a vice chief of induction and ceremony, and he makes sure that elections happen. He makes sure that people go from point A to point B in their induction cycle. And we also have, if you're not an officer, we also have many committees. One thing that has been said is that we have, our lodge is over 4,000 members, right? So we try to have 4,000 leadership positions or some way to contribute. So there's so many committees that you can join, from social media on the lodge to unit elections in our chapter. So many committees that for you to join, and they're all over the place. Just ask, and we can see what we can do. But I saw a question in chat.
Yeah, so the question was, are there dues? And yes, so there are dues. We just went through and are still going through, I believe, our due paying season. And the dues are really cheap. They're about $14 a year. If you get it early, if you get it late, it's about $16. So still, that's like really low compared to some other organizations whose dues might be in the hundreds of dollars. So yes, we do have dues. They're once a year, and they're $14 to $16.
Before we go to the other question, Andy, I want to add on to that. You did a great job. So the dues, like Andy said, they're annually, but for Arrowmen who just joined and just get their sash, they actually are given 1 year of free dues right away, and so you don't have to pay your dues for that year. So in 2020, if you just pay and register for your ordeal, you do not need to pay the $14 for the 2020. So that gives you eligibility to sign up for events, and to your dues are able you to wear the lodge flap and to wear the sash. And so you automatically get that as soon as you register. And also there is a late fee though, that's on April 1st. We want you to pay your dues before then. So any dues paid after April 1st, no joking, are go up, like Andy said, by $2 to $16. And so, yeah, that answers that first question. So, Andy, do you want to take the second question now?
So I believe that for at my ordeal, we did use that. We used it more. We had it as a construction tarp more, and like a drop cloth. Sorry. Because like what you would do is put it under your tent so that you don't get wet. Because it did rain at my ordeal, so rain and weather is always an issue. It is May, but it might rain. So using those like as rain tarps slash like drop claws so that the bottom of your tent doesn't get wet is always a good idea.
Yep. So just something heavy duty, a tarp like that, water resistant, something you can put on the ground that'll work just fine. Dr. Kiernan, are there any questions that you're constantly asked? Any frequently asked questions that you would like to answer?
Well, let me just make two quick comments. First off, we've heard a lot about how the Order of the Arrow is about service, and it really is. It's a service organization, and because of that, its emphasis on leadership is a very special kind of leadership. It's what we call servant leadership. And I'm a parent. I have of two kids who've done a lot of different leadership things in school. Servant leadership. It's leadership to serve the needs of those that the leader leads. It's a different approach to leadership than you see in a lot, for example, in sports leadership. Not that there's any problem with sports leadership. I'm not saying that. I'm saying we take a different approach, and it's infused in everything we do. So I speak to the parents who are listening. The time commitment. I'm sure a lot of the parents are thinking, holy moly, my kid's already doing lots of stuff. Do I really want to get involved in another activity? It complements what happens in scouting. It actually reinforces one's involvement in scouting. And as the parent of a son who's just now completing the college application process, I can say that the leadership activities that it presents, leadership opportunities it presents, are great fodder for college essays and for other ways of standing apart from other college applicants when it comes to that time. I think that's all I want to say right now. Back to you, Stefan.
All right, thank you very much. I appreciated what you had to say. Andy, is there any questions that you want to answer, or is there anything else that you want to say?
So something I frequently get asked, because I am the Order of the Arrow representative for my troop. So something that I do frequently get asked, like, what do you even do at chapter meetings? Like why should I go? Like, as I said earlier, we always have some kind of food or snack there, so it's always nice to get a bite to eat. But it varies from meeting to meeting. Some meetings we have leadership games, and it's a fun time to be playing those. Sometimes we have special guests come to our meetings, and when I say special, I mean like we had recently, I think it was our last meeting, we had the section chief and the lodge chief come to our meeting and say a few words, participate in the game. The meetings can range from anywhere from us giving a presentation on the new patches that we're going to be giving out at Ordeal to, as I said, leadership games, stuff like that. So we do kind of everything, and it's honestly really fun to hang around with.
Thank you very much, Andy. Our very special coordinator, Matthew Rustin, is there any frequently asked questions that you get that you want to address, or anything that you just want to say?
I think the question I get most from people in my troop is, why should I go to OA? And it's been said pretty much already, but it's just there's infinite number of possibilities that the Order of the Arrow opens up, especially if maybe you're getting confined by your troop. The Order of the Arrow is one way you can increase your leadership, increase your adventure, and meet new people and learn new skills. So it's also a lot of fun. There's a few reasons why you should join the Order of the Arrow. I never regret it.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Matthew and Andy and Dr. Kiernan. This is the last chance for questions. Any questions? So with that being said, this is going to conclude our first ever OA welcome session. I want to say thank you to everyone who watched, and thank you everyone for participating. If you have any questions, please shoot us an email, and I want to once again say thank you very much for your time.